Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Football Betting Series here on YouTube. We carried on in April the way we left off in March with some inconsistent form. Across our 6 selections last week, we won 2, we lost 2, and we were pushed on 2. And overall, that means we're looking at a loss for the month of April of £18.60. The one ray of positivity is overall we're looking at 57 wins, 24 losses, and 9 pushes for a total series profit of £324.45. In all honesty, it's not a great start to April, so what do we do in the face of poor form? We pull back, we review what's gone wrong, and we limit our selections. So with that in mind, today's episode is only going to feature 2 selections in the Premiership, but I will have some continental picks in the pinned comment down below. Without further ado, let's get into it. Our first selection sees 8th place Newcastle playing host to 4th place Tottenham Hotspurs. And Newcastle picked up a win on the road in their last game, beating Fulham by 1-0. This does mean that the Magpies are now unbeaten in their last 3 Premiership games and are in a really strong position to fight for those top 6 places. The away side Spurs, they beat Forest by 3-1 in their last game. Despite being pegged back just before the interval, 2 goals in a 6-minute period saw Tottenham Hotspurs score their second and third to cap off a solid, if unspectacular, performance. In terms of form, Spurs are now unbeaten in 3 and have only faced defeat once in their last 6 Premier League games. Head-to-head, well, there's been a real mix. Newcastle have won 2 of the last 3, but looking back a little bit further, over the last 7 matches, Spurs have won 4 of them, Newcastle have won 2 of them, and the other 2 have finished as draws. In terms of predicting a result, it's anyone's guess, really. And for that reason, I'm looking at goals. Over 2.5 goals have come in 7 of Newcastle's last 8 home games in the Premier League, with an average of 4.5 goals over that sample. The Spurs, they've got an even longer track record. 14 of the last 15 league games have seen over 2.5 goals, with an average of 3.46 goals scored across this sample. Looking at the head-to-head record, over 2.5 goals have been scored in each of the last 6 encounters, with an average of 5 goals per game. So with this thinking in mind, I'm looking at over 2.5 goals in this game for a full stake in our first bet of the episode. Our second and final selection in today's episode sees 19th place Burnley playing host to 10th place Brighton. And Burnley, well, they took another L in their most recent game against Everton in the Sean Dyche derby. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's goal was the sole contribution in what was rather a drab affair. This defeat broke a 4-game unbeaten streak for Burnley, and they're now staring down the barrel of 1 win in their last 14 league games. And that goes a long way to explaining their current league position and apparently destined for the Championship. Their opponents in this game are Brighton, who are on a similar vein of form in all honesty. Most recently, they lost by 3-0 at home against Arsenal, and despite the underlying numbers, Brighton have still only won 1 of their last 6 Premier League games. Head-to-head, the reverse fixture finished 1-1, which looks like a particularly good point for Burnley, to be honest. Despite taking the league in that game, they were thoroughly outclassed by Brighton, as the Seagulls had 72% of possession, outshot Burnley by 29-6, and had an XG of 2.78 compared to Burnley's 0.56. If we see a similar performance in this game, we're looking at quite a comfortable win for Brighton. All things considered, I really do like Brighton for this one. However, I do need to take note of their recent poor run of form. Instead of backing the away side outright, I'm going to be laying the home side Burnley or double chance Brighton for a full stake in bet number 2. So there we have it. 2 selections in today's episode, starting off with Newcastle versus Spurs. I'm taking over 2.5 goals at odds of 1.41, £30 stake to return £12.30. And the second and final selection is in Burnley versus Brighton is laying the home side or double chance Brighton. Odds of 1.33 or 1 to 3 in fractional odds, a £30 stake to return £10.34. So across the weekend, we're going to be risking £60 to hopefully pick up as much as £22.64, as we hope to see a return to winning ways. If you've made it to this point in the video, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more content. Don't forget to check out the continental picks in the pinned comment down below. And as always, have yourself a lovely day.